As let's dive into the next series, which is going to be featuring the red Zerg in the bottom left-hand side. This is Reynor taking on the blue Terran to the top right. It is Cure. Some more TvZ then as we continue through today's matches. Again, opening matches best of 3, elimination match after this also best of 3, but the winners match, so whoever wins this versus Bjorn will be best of 5, and so will the final match, the decider match as we call it. That too will be a best of 5 here today in the WardiTV Summer Championship. So let's see how this goes. Let's see how our matches go. And let's hope for some good stuff. I mean, Cure and Reynor over the time have had some really crazy games and some really crazy series. There have been a lot of very good matches between these two. I can think back to a few times they've played and we've seen like the 40-minute marker of games, which obviously doesn't always happen. So yeah, definitely potential for some crazy stuff to go down. Let's just hope, like I say, for some good games more than anything else. We had some really awesome groups in the first group stage of this tournament, and we also had some groups which were maybe not quite so hot, so we know there can be ups and downs, but this group really should promise to be a good one, and definitely expecting that a little bit. I suppose we shall see. Gonna drop a reactor down. Factory is building. Couple Queens and Lings are on the way out as we get ourselves set up into the start of this. And, well, again, no Reaper. We've seen a lot less Reapers in TvZ as of late. It's not like the opening is completely gone, but from what used to be an absolute standard and the very rarity of like a CC first or something is probably used like, what, like 60% of the time now or so, I'd say. Maybe a little bit player dependent, but it does feel like the Reaper is seen better days in terms of when it gets used. Players just kind of confident scouting without it and don't feel like they need to kind of have it out, I suppose. And obviously if you skip the Reaper, you can speed up the timing of your factory and hence some of the other attacks that you can commit into, of course, which is generally a good thing. That's something you would generally like to be able to succeed with and do, so not really too surprising. Looks to be coming up to being about halfway done. Medevac, Hellion, all on the way out. That's going to be seeing that Queen moving out to the front as well. That head should come down. Seems to be Hellion getting a little pop off onto a few Zerglings. So a few Lings just getting picked away at there, as our Medevac is still coming through. That will, of course, for Cure, give him a chance to get across the map and put on a really good amount of pressure in the very near future. So let's see, we're actually going to get a fusion core started as well, which is very fun because that means we are going to be able to see some BATTLECRUISERs. So a really fun opening, like a little medevac drop, then a BC follow-up. Scouting here for Reynor is going to be absolutely imperative to know all the bits and pieces that is going on. Be as prepared as possible, not be caught off guard, but right now that Overlord's just sat there. At least it is nearby to scout, right? So the theory is that he's got it in position to scout. He's not just going to forget to scout because, you know, I expect Reynor to be better than the guy that forgets to scout. Like, wait, I was meant to scout this a little while ago. What? That'd be kind of silly, right? That would be kind of silly. So yeah, as you just see, these Marines are going to load up, and they are going to back it up just a little bit, unable to really do much on their first real attempt here. And there's the BC coming in, but yeah, like we say, immediate scout from this Overlord, which will just give itself up as well, and get all the way in to guarantee seeing everything. So yeah, full scout enabled. Question I suppose I have is, we have seen less and less mech in TvZ as of late, so I wonder if this might be Cure bringing a bit of mech back into the matchup right now, or is he actually going to end up just going into stim anyways? He's got knockout gases on the natural, which I suppose probably means stim and bio, and there it is coming through. was just thinking, I was like, man, it has been a while since we've seen some mech play, no? I'm trying to think of the last time I saw some good old mech play coming out from the Terran players, and it has been a hot second since we've adventured in that way. They're coming up, the drone's coming through, spores all continuing out as that creep spread is continuing to push on into the middle of the map here. Going to be able to grab the Overlord. As that BC teleports across, it's going to show up and, well, start to pick its way through some queens. Bye-bye, queens! Well, maybe not. Bye-bye! Oh, never mind. Yeah, no, taking a little bit of damage, but nothing too serious as we have the BC pushed away. Great initial defense then, and obviously you've got queens in a spore here. Don't see this BC doing much yet. Might have to just wait and combo itself with something later on, but that's a pretty big early investment to then not get a lot out of. Reynor did get a roach run, so you can build roaches here. He's starting a carapace upgrade. No real commitment all the way through to whether this is going to be purely roaches or what, though. I feel like the roach roaring is kind of, in case of mech, smash this button, which is the roach roaring button, and then, you know, now he can actually make roaches. But yeah, now a Bane Nest on the way up, and I think he's definitely realizing that this is perhaps just going to be some bio play behind this, so he's just prepping himself for that instead. BC still here, gonna grab another drone. The queens get there to push the BC out. Aliens out in the center, gonna grab a few Cryptiumers, a few more drones continuing to go down. There's melee upgrades coming up on the side of Reynor. And the Hellions really coming through for, again, just a bit more creep spread, really working their way through that as that BC is gonna teleport out. Has 3 kills in the end, but I think we can still say that Reynor's had a pretty successful opening. Like I said about the, the kind of the realization on the roaches, he didn't make them, so now he's on his way to melee upgrades. He just feels like he's reading the game very well too. He's not being baited into anything, which then he's going to regret. And like I say, that could have been, oh crap, build roaches, and he builds a load of roaches for nothing to happen. And this Spire he is going to keep because even though it's 1 BC, I imagine he's going to play just a few mutas and use those mutas against the Battlecruiser, and then you have a way to push it back without being committed into Corruptors, which don't have a further use beyond that. So yeah, gonna get into some mutas here, and that will be Reynor. I mean, somewhat his hand forced, I suppose, down this pathway. You don't have to go down here, but he probably feels like this is the best pathway to go because he does know the fear of what a Battlecruiser can do. Even just one, just later in the game, if it's never really shut down, it can come back in repeatedly and just keep on reappearing to deal more and more damage. So it's actually really scary having a BC on the map that you've got no way to shoot. Or no anti-F, or no, like, flying anti-F, obviously Queen's health. As these mutas will also teleport away here. That's obviously what you're looking to do, just repeatedly keep that BC back. If it teleports away, it pretty much can't come back until that teleports off cooldown, because otherwise the mutas would just be able to kill it. So it buys you that whole length of time with that cooldown now, where you don't have to worry about the BC, and that's something which Reynor will be very content with. Look at the upgrade timings as well, by the way. Reynor is so quick on 1-1 compared to Cure. That was a great set of Banelings, holy crap! They did so much in the center of the map there, just a few Banes wiping out mines and Marines alike. Wow, and I was just like, just to finish my previous thought, I was just mentioning the upgrades because usually Terran is ahead, or at least only a little bit behind on upgrades, but it's a major upgrade lead from Reynor. And there's going to be a time where he can maybe try and strike with 2-2 and just look to do mega damage while his opponent will not be able to match that upgrade at all at the same point in time. Well, here we'll still try and find openings with the BC. That kind of cooldown timer that I was talking about has now expired, so BC can get back to it. Just coming in, gonna go chase that Battlecruiser. He's gonna be taking a reasonable amount of damage. Like I say, that's the benefit of the mutas. You can push that back so quickly and easily. Still nice for the Zerg Terran though, because you're keeping the mutas at home in that time, right? So you're still saying, well, look, you're not out on the map, you're not being active. I still kind of benefit from this for the most part. Some Hellbats at the front, gonna start roasting up a few Lings as Mutas overhead will work their way through those Hellbats. That little bit of back and forth continues through on either side. Extra Banes up to the top. Looking to come in and potentially go surround this army over here. Going to be seeing the Bioforce looking to get up this ramp. The counterattack is already going to commit then, so no surround, just a counter. Just going to aim for this planetary, which is only just finishing up. What are we going to go for? I mean, bit of everything. Could have probably had some army if he wanted it. We'll actually go for it at the same time. This push moves up the ramp. Muta's defending the main base. 11 SCVs going down as that fourth base is busted. That's going to keep Cure behind on the economy from where he would like to be. One Thor lifts up, pulls back. The Banelings rolling down that ramp. They get dealt with by a Widowmine, but the Mutas, no, they give up. They're about to catch that medevac with the Thor inside. They decide not to go for it. I appreciate that there is a world where you probably just chase and you don't get that. In fact, that's very likely the world we're living in, but it's so close anyways, so probably not the wrong idea to not chase because the boost was on that medevac. Just unlucky not to get quite enough to finish it off a few moments sooner. DC pulls it back to the front, getting up to 4 bases in total. Here's the Mutas. I'm going to dive in, go for a depot. Obviously, this is annoying because then you're opening up pathways that the Terran has to rebuild and block again, because if you don't rebuild there, the Ling Bane is going to start running by and running through, and then you're just going to have a bad time. A little Mind Shot is at least split away from as we're trying to get in for a little extra. Is back into the main, gonna go 1, gonna go 2 turrets. And the core shot's still coming by. Core's actually adding on quite a lot of damage, and those Mutas taking quite some hits. Ling Bane continues through, and actually once again, this 4th base in trouble. Funny, it was a planetary, now it's just an orbital. Means you can lift it up and just get it away. But obviously then you're in some other trouble as well, as it's actually the main base orbital. Wow, it's actually just the main base orbital flowed over. I didn't realize. I thought it was at least just another orbital that was nearby, or another CC. Decided just to keep as an orbital. That's a little bit funky. Why is it so laggy? I don't know, guys. It's Korean server may just be acting up a little bit today. Sometimes Korea does this. I'll try a quick relog after this game, but sometimes the Korean server just doesn't want to be our friend, unfortunately. There's, like I say, not really much I can do about that. Can't control the servers. Usually when this lag happens, it's not seen by the players, though. It's very much so just on our side, so like I say, it's just our connection to the server, and hopefully... sometimes even hosting a new map just removes it as well, so hopefully that will be the case. His Ling is still trying to run through as we got, honestly, pretty reasonable defense this time around, it feels like. No, I mean, look, we're losing some SCVs and stuff, but it's better than it has been. SCVs going down. The Mutas show up. We're going to get the medevac. Thor will go down as well. No, that Thor was actually saved by the medevac, I think. Didn't quite see it in the moment of lag. Oh my goodness, it is very laggy, guys. Apologize. Hopefully, like I said, just fix it up in a little bit. I don't get it. My ping's kind of okay, though. Oh. No, my ping is okay. Usually the ping at least is skyrocketing at this point, but okay. Well, Muta's still harassing around as Reynor is trying to get himself to ultras. Reynor's problem is going to be this army. He's dealt a lot of economic damage. He's gotten Cure down to almost one last stand. He has to find a way through this army. He's got 70 less army supply than Cure. He's going to start by giving up a base. He's actually engaging in on the backside with some Banes. Just trying to find, I mean, this is great, right? Cure's just not paying attention over here, so Reynor can find a lot of damage to start. Now it's only a 30 army supply. It's already very different, and Reynor's also waiting out on +3 upgrades. Cure actually doesn't have the +2 attack, so missing that is very painful, and then just missing 3-3 in total is very painful. So upgrades from Cure, they were always slow, but they've been delayed even further, and now still hanging on those, hoping for them to come through is going to be absolutely brutal. Stay at the front there, chasing that BC down. Widowmine connects on a good feelings that move into a mineral line as well. And Sling Bane Ultra back to the top. At the same time, over on the right, we've got Banes running through over here, chasing for SCVs. The BC still active, by the way. We're going to see a large fight over on the top side, though. And the Ultra is just kind of being left to deal with the Thors. The Bane's trying to figure out what best to go off on. There was no Marines there, so it's like Marauders or more Marauders. Oh, we don't really want to hit anything like that. Cure is bleeding out, guys. He does not seem to have enough to stay alive in this game. It has fallen apart a little bit too much for him here, as Reynor army supply lead is never good for a Zerg. It was terrible to see that against the Zerg. The Zerg having an army supply lead is just, well, yeah, really unlikely you can ever take a fight, especially when there's so many bases, so much creep. I mean, credit to this BC, 31 kills. It's been one constant in this game that has just remained throughout, and he's used it very well. Just Reynor has kind of won this game in all the other places. At this point, Reynor maxes one more time. And should probably just be committing to one fight to try and close it all out. Give me this kill on SCVs. That's going to be the final blow for this one. And Reynor starts off with a 1. Go, game number 2. We start in the bottom left corner of the map with the blue Terran player from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. This is Cure. Taking on the red Zerg in the top right-hand side. It is going to be Reynor. Game 2 of this best of 3. See what goes down. It was nice to check on the burning ruins in the center. This map was formerly known as Frost Giant, if you guys weren't aware, and when this map was first sent into the TLMC, there was a little Blizzard logo here on a little, like, signpost. I feel like the implication of that was quite obvious. It was quickly edited and removed from the TLM. Well, the map wasn't removed, but the Blizzard logo was removed from the TLMC. And then for the ladder, lo and behold, the map is now called Inside and Out. Which maybe is a still a bit of a play on that. Something burning inside and out. Everything is going wrong. I don't know. Maybe, possibly. I actually saw the map maker recently tweet mentioning, he's like, hey, guys, just want to remind you all that this map is called Frost Giant. It's not called Inside and Out. That's just a name. That's just a name to replace the fact that they weren't allowed to call it that, you know? So, yeah. I thought that was funny that they actually went out and tweeted that. They're like, I am somewhat upset that my map has been renamed. Game gets going without too much excitement. We do see a no Reaper opening again, which obviously really doesn't give us much to look at then in these early stages. So in that regard, pretty slow going. So gonna see a Hellion coming up to the top side. A couple Marines on the way. Link speed is about halfway done. And getting this all set to roll. With the medevac coming out, obviously Cure is looking for something aggressive here. Now, Is there a world he adds on an armory? I don't think it would be on time. If you add it on now, it's a pretty quick run across this map. Just wondering about adding Hellbats in. I know he doesn't have a lot of Hellions, but even a couple of Hellbats might be nice. Would hit very early, as he does want to, at the very least, then get these Marines across the map and try and find some pressure with that. Very akin to what we saw Bjorn opening with a little bit earlier on as well, right? Bjorn was on the map and being active with a group of Marines against Ratata, and just really trying to find a lot out of that. As initially, Reynor will lose an Overlord, and actually no replacement Overlord. Reynor will be sat in a supply block here for a little while. Marines just go up to the medevac there, and it's going to be seen at the same time now. Our units from Reynor going to rally out of defense, try and make sure this doesn't get out of hand or anything. One Ling gets in. Nice little spot. Because that's actually a huge scout, right? Now you know, yo, that's no third CC. That's a second and third rack. So Cure's going to be very aggressive on two bases. He is not setting up to be, you know, a friendly neighbor or anything. He is looking to be absolutely feisty and up in your face. So Cure very aware here of what he would like to do. It would seem. +1 attack starts up on the engineering bay. A few Marines sat on the top side, and they're going to start scanning for a couple of creep tumors. Two of them go down immediately. So now load up these Marines and evacuate them out of there. See, extra Marines coming through, stim, +1, all of that continuing in, and extra Marines popping out too. The extra barracks are about to finish up. Well, that's still being produced here as we just have the Queens in the center off. Gonna make sure that this medevac will not be able to do too much either. I mean, Reynor's defense pretty good. After losing that initial overload and getting a bit supply blocked, he's really been on point. Nothing else really lost at all. A couple Lings at most, and has just kept himself in a very comfortable position since then. Obviously, this is now Reynor. He was very aware of what's going on. I love what he's doing, just a single upgrade for himself, Carapace, no need for the melee, and what is likely to be a more aggressive game. Don't go too overboard on upgrades. He's getting a relatively quick paneling speed. He is fully aware of the fact that Cure is playing a 2-base all-in against him, and he is absolutely playing to that. He is not messing it up at all quite yet, and Reynor honestly feels like this is going to be very tough for Cure to make work, because when Reynor is this aware of what you're doing, I mean, then I feel like your game plan's just not meant to work at all. These are Queens that are fighting this initial round of Marines. The Lings were setting up for a counterattack. Here comes some Ling Bane over here to waddle forward. Bane speed is about to kick in as we go for the tanks. The Lings actually end up flanking in from the other side. And Reynor is going to absolutely shove this back with full force here immediately. And Cure is not going to be all that successful on these first few attempts to attack. And the problem with the 2-base all-in, it really builds off of momentum and previous successes, right? It builds off of the first trade being good enough so that the Zerg is then always scrambling and trading worse than they should be. So when the Zerg trades very well from the very start, it becomes way tougher to really make this work out properly. And that is kind of what we're currently looking at here as Queens fight those Marines off still. Feelings in the main base are likely to be pulled back, or need replacing or something. Carapace upgrade only just now finished, so this has all been happening with +1 on the side of Cure, but no upgrade on the side of Reynor. Now there's an upgrade each, and Reynor's even going to continue into double upgrades because, well, he's defended, right? He's moved into a way more comfortable state of the game, so why not start double upgrades and expand on your lead? It's not really greedy because he's very aware of the game state and what his opponent is doing and what he's been able to achieve himself so far, so just has very good game knowledge to work off of right now. The creep spread still pushing forward as Marines come in, gonna grab a creep tumor. Things want to wrap around, and Marines will jump back into medevacs and make it away back to the upper right-hand side where they begin to unload. Well, Cryptium is continuing to go down. Clearing out the center of the map. Here's supply. Just, I mean, obviously, he's now building a third CC. He's looking for a way to maybe transition out of this, but realistically, that's why Reynor going into double upgrades when he did is nice, because if Reynor continued to play scared and, like, very defensive against this, you know, then he ends up in a position where actually Cure can transition out. But because Reynor played confidently and said, hey, look, I know my position here. I know I can start double upgrades. Hey, look, I know I can slip some extra drones into play. Because he's done all that, it makes it much less likely that right now, Cure will be successful in this 3-base transition that he's aiming for. He does find that base on the right side. Reynor doesn't quite have the top left set up. Oh my god! I haven't even looked back here, but that is a hell of a wall off as the Bane lanes. Yeah. Well, that's one way to make sure that the Bane lanes will not get through the natural expansion. Oh my god, it actually worked as well. That was a hell of a defense. Who knew? You know, all this time people getting Bane busted. Just make 3-4 rows of depots, guys. Seriously. Who would have thought? Reynor does need to kind of clean out this army, because this was the problem with losing this base, that it gives access to the main. For something like this to happen, I still don't really think this is very scary, because you should just be able to flood the low ground and deal with the main. Let's see if he will do so. As right now, he's kind of playing it patiently, just waiting a little while longer. He doesn't really have much to wait for other than extra units. He's got all the upgrades that he's going to get. Time drone's going down as these Marines coming through. The medevac's taking just a little bit of damage, and here we go now. Running in towards this area. Lane Vane pushing forward. These tanks are going to be in a ton of trouble. They all get cleaned out. This orbital is just going to move over to land on the third base as well. It's just getting that set. Lane Vane still going down the left side. A few Marines and medevacs on the right. And Reynor looking for counterattack. That probably won't happen because Cure has a lot of units here. It's kind of okay if Cure has a lot of units here. They're units that are not trying to be across the map, which Reynor's probably pretty happy about right now. And he's defending the aggression, and Reynor continue to build up and just +2 melee. +2 is not something we've really seen take off too heavily yet for Cure. He's only just now starting his 2-2 upgrades, so only just beginning to go there. Oh, actually, this is going to turn into a pretty big fight over here, as you are going to see Reynor with more units just going to come swarming in. He would love to shut down the economy on this third base. It looks like he will do just that, and he also pushes the Marines back. And this is probably where Cure is unable to really come back at all. This is starting to look to be very, very over here in this game number 2 of this best of 3. Reynor has money in the bank to spend as well, so if he spent all that, he'd be in an even better position. So, yeah, definitely looking very strong right now. 6 drones having gone down. Gonna get this Liberator. I mean, it is nice that he's doing some damage, because it is somewhat keeping Cure kind of alive and kicking. It's giving him at least a chance, right? He's getting at least an opportunity, if nothing else. You see, like I said, it just does feel as though Reynor has been that little bit too successful for the most part. It's going to be tough to really win out otherwise, as we have got Cure pushing up the top left. I mean, Reynor's eco 60 drones obviously would have liked to have been better. Not that it's terrible considering the working count of the Terran play, just it is something that Cure has done, and you never know, if Reynor takes a bad fight, maybe this becomes playable because of those efforts you've put in earlier. Reynor wants to swarm this base again, a lot of units in the medevacs. He gets forward. The problem is the Banes are very stacked. They're going to take a lot of tank fire. We do blow up 8 SCVs. I don't think we'll have enough to really clear this position out. I mean, the Marines on the right side actually continue to stem forward through the center. I thought they would have pulled back to help, honestly, but apparently not the case. I really thought they would have pulled back to help. I'm actually a little bit shocked by that they didn't. Welling's back to that right-hand side, going to go for the run forward, looking to wrap around these Marines. Medevacs load up, and they begin to back away. Army of Cure. Last-ditch effort perhaps up this left-hand side. He's still got so many units just in medevacs that just are not unloading, as Reynor is going to come running straight into him here and starting to wipe this out. This is absolutely not looking too hot for Cure, as I've kind of said repeatedly at this point. Reynor just does more of the same. He denies this same base. He kills off SCVs on this same location and just tries to play his absolute best with the Bling Bane that he has. He's moving now into Ultras as well, so he's been teching into Hive. Again, his tech behind this has always been improving, whether that was earlier in the game or even right now. Things coming through, grabbing a tank, grabbing these Marines. Smallings, Ultras, Adrenal Glands all coming out. These Banelings that were burrowed over there. Oh, Reynor didn't actually notice it. Everything was clumped up there initially. As now he's like, should I pop them on this right side? Maybe, possibly. Reynor is once again denying the third. As the Ultras pop out, they're going to be somewhat unkillable for Cure. I think the Ultras are the big problem. There's a few moments before they hit Chitinous Plate, and maybe that will actually give you the best chance of all, but obviously Cure is by all rights dead. We've kind of seen that. We've been saying it for a long time, and it is well displayed here as Reynor takes the 2-0. Means you got set up for more TvZ. We're going to be going back to America to